So now I'm going to have a look at Forged in Battle's other tank that they sent through for us. This is the German Panther. This is a very nice tank. A little bit of a dark horse. Came out first with a huge amount of teething problems, but eventually, with a bit of modification, a few reworkings of several bits and pieces, this became one of the finest tanks that Germany produced during the war. A lot of people say it was just a direct copy from the T-34. Yes and no. It was a copy in the T-34 as far as having sloped armor, but it was bigger, it was heavier, had a higher velocity gun. It was the better tank to the T-34. A lot of people say it was just a match, but it was, in my opinion, a far better tank. And one of the tanks that maybe Germany should have focused on maybe a little more, because once this tank proved itself to be combat efficient, it was worth easily 5 or 6 Shermans, same amount in T-34s as well. Probably the better tank than the Tiger, because A, it was lighter, so it wasn't stressing its own engine that much, which was the same engine that was in the Tiger, the Maybach V12 petrol engine. It had a smaller caliber gun, but a higher velocity. A higher velocity basically means the shell's traveling faster out the end of the barrel than it was from the Tiger's 88mm. This was armed with a 76mm high-velocity anti-tank gun, perfectly capable of killing a Sherman up to maybe 1400 yards, possibly even longer. I believe it had a slightly longer range, effective range, than the Tiger's 88. But everybody understands and everybody knows the 88 as an incredibly strong and incredibly powerful tank-killing gun. But this 76mm was more purpose-built. Like the 88 was more of an anti-aircraft gun to start with, and then they put anti-tank sights on it, and they had that, which was in a bit more of a hurry. But this had a lot more research and development put into it. This is probably the kind of tank the Tiger should have been, and then they wouldn't have had to develop the Panther in the first place. Something else is the Panzer Mark V, which is odd because it came out after the Tiger, which was the Panzer Mark VI. But development had started with a medium to heavy tank before the Tiger design was pretty much sorted out. Germany didn't think they needed a medium tank or a heavy tank during the start of the war, due to their experiences through France and the lowlands. The tanks they came up against, the likes of the British Matilda Mark I, the Mark II, which was a better tank than the Mark I, but still didn't have the tank killing power behind it. The French Char B, the small Renault tank, the little tankettes and whatnot. Germany really didn't see the point in having a medium to heavy tank which was more suited to combating other tanks. But as the war went on and they met the T-34 in Russia, they pushed the Tiger through production, they got it out there, and then they sat back and they went, right, we need a better tank. We need something that's more purpose-built. The Tiger was a bit of a rush job, admittedly, but when the Panther came out, it was rushed as well. The Panther's seen combat first at Kursk in Russia and failed miserably. And the reason it failed miserably was there wasn't enough field testing done before it was sent to the front. It finished production, rolled out of the factory, went straight on the train to Russia. So that it was plagued with problems like the exhaust catching fire, which is generally not very good. A lot of mechanical problems. Later in the war, Normandy time basically, again as I keep talking about Normandy, from Normandy the Panther really proved itself. A very fine fighting machine, excellent design, very, very strong in combat. So, without further ado, let's have a look at this tank. So we'll pull the turret off and get out of the way. So here we have the hull of the vehicle. As you can see, it's a bit longer than the Tiger. It's a little narrower and it's a bit longer, which is kind of cool. We have a spot here in the front for the hull-mounted MG34. We have our 2 crew panels, our 2 crew hatches for the driver, co-driver. We slide around the side of the hull. You can see this interleafing wheel design that the Germans came up with, which decreased ground pressure as the tank was driving over softer ground. Definitely what they needed when the tank was upwards of 46 tons in weight. Along the back we have the air vents and whatnot. Here we have a strange little device over this rear vent. This is I believe from what I can remember, this is a crew heater. So we have a heating system that pumps hot air, or drags air in, heats it up and pumps it into the crew compartment. Why? Because it was cold in Russia. It was very cold in Russia. And definitely cold during the winter of '44 as well. So they had to take measures to keep the crew alive, basically. We also have spare track and whatnot molded across the sides of the hull. This long tubular thing as well, this is an odd one. A few people have always asked me what that is. That's cleaning rods. Those are the cleaning rods for the actual 76mm gun. Lengths of wood with a brush on the end, like you would use it for a chimney sweep. Screw them together to make them long enough, and that's how you clean the barrel of the gun. So, yep, fantastic detail, very crisp, very tidy. Everything looks in very good proportions. You can see that gorgeous large front slant on the armour. Makes it a very sleek looking tank from profile. So yeah, we'll move that out of the way. We'll then bring in our turret. So again, like the Tiger that we unboxed, this has a cupola which has 5 or 6 periscopes in it, and also a ring for a mounted MG42 or MG34 machine gun to be used in the anti-aircraft role. We have the large gun mantlet on the front, which is just literally a big half circle where the 76mm mounts. Like on the Tiger, your gunner sits in front of the commander down below into the turret, and his telescopic view is here. On the other side we would have another MG34 here, which is coaxial to the main gun and would be fired by the gunner as well. And behind him would be the loader sitting into the right hand side of the commander. Another telltale sign of where the loader is, that large hatch on the back, isn't just for getting in and out of, that's for expelling spent shell casings, because the shell casings on the 76mm were about that long, maybe about 2.5 foot long. You don't need 20 or 30 of those lying in the bottom of your tank. You need to get rid of those as you fire them. So we'll talk about the other little pieces as well here. So we have a commander and we have the gun barrel to have a look at. So our Panther commander is wearing something a little bit different to our Tiger commander. He's actually wearing the Stahlhelm helm. He's wearing the regular sort of infantryman's helmet, which is a bit of an unusual one, which goes without saying, but not out of the realms of fantasy at all, or out of the realms of reality. He's also moulded onto the crew hatch, the cupola hatch for the Panther as well, so we'll move that out of the way. And if I slide all this into view, what we have here is the gun barrel for the 76mm. This is long, it's slightly longer than the Tiger's 88 barrel, and a very thinner diameter shell. We also have the cupola hatch, the optional cupola hatch, if you don't wish the commander to be exposed. And we have a small MG barrel as well there, so that's something that wasn't on the Tiger, that was on a different piece. That's the MG barrel for the hull mounted MG34. So guys, once again, hopefully I didn't bore you too much with that history lesson. Hopefully I got it all right. There's a few of you guys out there who are doing a superb job correcting me. Thank you very much for watching, of course. Put your comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.